एक ग्रुप में तो बहुत बोलते हो, यहाँ के तो चुप हो सारे के सारे।
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. So, yesterday what we had studied regarding networks? Yes?
Switches and all that.
Regarding networks, computer networks we
Yes,
studied.
yes, ma'am.
So, do you know when was the internet started? Anybody knows that? How did the internet start? History of internet? No? So there was a organization of America, that is, they created the Army Defense of America. They created a network called ARPANET, right? For advanced research organization they created, so that their own army people could connect and they could share information and all that. So through that ARPANET, later on this network, that is internet, network of network was created. The ARPANET was given then to the universities and all to connect, the students could connect through the networks, and later on the research work kept going on, and all the computers were connected and internet was made public. So that was the history. Actually, this is there in the year 1960. The Advanced Research Project Agency, that is ARPA, of the U.S. Department of Defense, and researchers from universities and research centers developed a network called the ARPANET. The main goal of ARPANET was to share data and processing time over a set of computers connected through telephone lines and satellite links. This led to creation of one of most widely used network of networks, that is your internet. So this was the time when internet was created and it was made public. So now through the internet you could carry any text, in graphic, sound, video, or any images you can send on the network. So that is there. So we talked about what is a network. So you can read this. I told you to read this unit, right? What is a computer network? What are the advantages? The advantages of a computer network are what? That you can share the resources, right? And it is highly reliable. Reliability is high. Why? Because you have, if your system fails, so you have resources somewhere else also, so that you can access it on a network, right? And cost benefit is also there, right? So that cost benefit, that means the network may consist many powerful small computers, one per user. You can keep the data and application on one or more shared powerful file server machines. And then there is scalability also. That means you can keep on adding more systems, or the processors in the systems can be incremental. So that is scalable. That means you can keep on adding the different resources. And powerful communication medium it is. So you within a nanoseconds you can exchange information between the computers. So that is there. Then do you know what the WWW, World Wide Web? Who invented this World Wide Web? He was Tim Berners-Lee. His name was WWW was started in 1989 by Sir Tim Berners-Lee at Physics Laboratory, CERN. Right. So WW stands for World Wide Web, and it provides a point-and-click interface to text, images, sound, and movies that has proven to be very easy to use. So nowadays, you just click on it, and your hypertext, that is a link is there for image or for video or for whatever, and you click on it, and it starts showing you on the screen. So that is what WW does. And there are, you for accessing the internet, what do you have? You have a web browser. Do you know what is a web browser? It's a software, right? Browser is a software for accessing the internet.
Yes.
Right? So you have different kinds of web browsers. Examples are Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Apple Safari, and there are more also nowadays in the market. Right? So we were talking about data communication. So how communication happens is you have a source.
घरात येऊन जाई.
Who is this? अपना
अरे
mic
सर्व
mute
थंडी
करिए.
हवा, बाहेर गरम हवा.
Keep your mic mute for the timing. Source, you have a source computer, right? Then you have an encoder or transmitter, right, which will encode your information, and then you will have a encoder band transmitter or some kind of transmission medium will be there, and at the destination end you will have a decoder or receiver, and the destination will receive the message. This is what generally happens. Right, so here they are saying what is an encode, what is a source which produces the sequence of message, what is an encoder. Encoder represents any processing of the source message, like your modem will encode the message and send it to the channel or the wire, and the decoder will, again the modem is there at the destination end, it will convert it into the digital format and the destination will receive it. This keeps on happening. So there is a mode of data transmission also. Do you know how many modes are there of data transmission? There are 3 modes of data transmission. One is simplex, half duplex, full duplex. What is simplex? Simplex means only from A to B, one-way transmission, right? Modes of transmission, one-way transmission. If you are saying, suppose if from A to B one has to transfer, so only in one way you can transfer. That is simplex. What is half duplex? You can transfer in both ways, A to B and B to A, but one at a time. Do you understand? Like
Yes, ma'am.
a walkie-talkie, right? So one person can speak. When he finishes speaking, then the other person can speak, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is a half duplex. And when you talk about full duplex, what is full duplex? Both the directions simultaneously you can transfer, right? So nowadays, what mode of data transmission nowadays you are following? You are following a full duplex mode, right?
Mobile.
So that is mode. Yeah. Example is telephone, mobile, whatever you can say, full duplex. Right, then when you talk about the speed of transmission, I told you that your telephone wire will have a bandwidth. What is a bandwidth? Bandwidth is a data transmission rate that tells the maximum amount of information that can be transmitted along a channel. So how much data you can transfer on the channel, that is your telephone wire, is known as the bandwidth. So that is always measured in bits per second. Right. So nowadays you have megabits per second speed generally, or gigabits per second. Right. So that is your speed of transmission. Right. What else is there? Then you have data transmission channels. We discussed that there should be a media to transfer the data or channel to transfer the data. That is your guided channel, unguided, or guided media or unguided media. The guided media you have twisted head. They have given you only 2 guided media, that is twisted pair cable and fiber optic cable, right? So they have given you those things. The twisted pair cable, they have given you UTP, unshielded twisted pair, and that is nowadays Cat 5 cable is there. Cat 6 has also come. So earlier category 3, category 5, now category 6 has come. Then you have optical fiber, right? So the signal is generally generated by laser or LEDs, light emitting diodes, right? So because optic is there, so light medium is there, the signal is always transferred in light medium. The advantage, disadvantage they have given, we have studied yesterday also. And unguided media, you have radio waves, microwaves, and infrareds. So radio waves are electromagnetic waves which can penetrate the walls also. They are 3 kilohertz and 1 gigahertz are normally the radio waves, right? So they have given that. So in radio waves, you also have Bluetooth technology in radio waves. So Bluetooth is a very popular application of short wavelength radio transmission in the frequency band of 2400 to 2480 megahertz. Then you have microwaves. Microwaves are electromagnetic waves ranging from 1 to 300 gigahertz, right? And microwaves are unidirectional, that is, sending and receiving antennas need to be aligned. So they are unidirectional. So this kind of a thing. There will be earth stations, right? And you can transfer the data through a repeater from one earth station to the other. That is a microwave. Then you have infrared. Infrared is just like your remote, right? So 300 gigahertz to 400 terahertz is the range, and short range communication you will use infrared, right? That is there. Then you have network topologies. We talked about the arrangement of computers or the structure of computers should be how. So you have bus topology, right? Ring topology. Then you have star topology, right? So they have given that. We also talked about mesh and tree also, right? Then they are talking about network classification, that is your local area network, LAN, the characteristics of that, and then metropolitan area network, that is MAN. Then they talked about wide area network, that is WAN, right, which we yesterday discussed. Then they are also talking about virtual private network, VPN, which we discussed yesterday. So they are comparing the three kinds of networks, LAN, MAN, and WAN. So what is the full form, what is the cost, range, and all that, topology, whatever you can say. They are discussing that. Then we also talked about the open system interconnection model, OSI model, through which your communication happens. The protocols are has been designed. Protocols are the rules through which one communicates. The computer communicates from one computer to the other. So you have 7 layers in the OSI. So these are the 7 layers: physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, application. So this presentation, session, and application are the upper within a system. Within a system, these are happening, and the lower ones, which from the transport, network, data link, and physical, this between the lower between the systems. This is upper within a system. This is lower between the system. That means transferring of data is happening here actually, right? And within the system, the presentation, application, and session layers work, right? So this is what. So what does the application layer do? This layer is the layer for user interaction. We must have application software for dealing with the data. So whatever data you are dealing with, suppose you have sent an Excel spreadsheet data, so you must have a software for opening that data, that is Excel or whatever, right? Then presentation layer, it converts the data into suitable format. It does tasks like compression, decompression, encryption, and decryption. So your data must be in some other format. So it has to be brought to the normal format which you can read. So that is done by the presentation layer. And session layer, this layer manages connections between different application layers. So what the different application layer connections have to be managed by the session layer. So these 3 layers do this, right? And what does the transport layer do? This layer converts data into segments. I told you that you have to divide it into packets. So these packets can also be the other name can be segments. So data is converted into segments and reassembles the data stream. TCP and UDP are the protocols used in this layer. In this layer, data is converted into so-called segments. So basically, the division of packets is done here, and also when the packet reaches the destination, it reassembles the packet also in the order which was there. Then network layer, this layer translates logical address into physical address. So what is a logical address? Internet logical address is your IP address, Internet Protocol address. And what is your physical address? Is your MAC address, Media Access Control, which is in the Media Access Control, which is the NIC card address. So this is the work of the network layer, that it translates your IP address into your physical address. This layer also fixes the route for data path. That means the router works at this layer and it finds out the best path to transfer the data. So that is done by the network layer. And what does the data link layer do? This layer provides physical identification of a device using media access control address. It adds source and destination address to packets and convert them into frame. This is the layer that provides error-free transmission. So in the data link layer, what happens? The segments which were converted, or the packets which were converted in the transport layer, they are transferred to the network layer and decided what is the best route for what is the logic, where the this logical address has to is what physical address is there for the logical address, and then it will also find out the best path which should be which these packets should be transferred. And data link layer, what it will do is it will see the MAC address of the system, which is a physical address, and adds a source and destination address to the packet and convert them into frames. And this is the layer that provides error-free transmission. So it will also check for any error in the data or not. If there is an error, this data link layer checks for it. And then physical layer, what does it do? It provides the actual data transfer happens in this physical layer. So data is carried from one device to the other through the media, that is optical fiber or whatever it may be. So physical layer is the one which actually transfers your data. So these are the 7 layers of the OSI, of Open System Interconnection model, right? Through this model is followed for transferring data from one computer to the other. For example, they are saying, consider that you have to send a Word document to a different network or through internet. The following are the process. So what will happen in the OSI layer if you are transferring a Word document on the internet? In the application layer, the user can edit the file by using application software like word processor. So I told you, if you are to send some Word file, Excel file, whatever file, PDF, whatever you are saying, so you should have that software. So word processor software is there. You can edit the file in that. That is happening at the application layer. And in the presentation layer, the user compress the Word file by using WinRAR or WinZip and convert the data into different format, for example, .zip or .rar. So you can do that in the presentation layer. The file can be zipped. You can also convert the Word document into different formats. That is, you can convert it into PDF or whatever format also if you want. So that is done in the presentation layer. And in the session layer, the particular file has to be integrated with browser for attaching it to email or likewise client. So in the session layer, what happens is you have to open the medium through which you are sending the file. It can be email, it can be any other medium. So you will open the email, right, and attach your file in the session layer. And in the transport layer, data is converted into segments. Now data will be converted into packets or segments. Source IP and destination IP are added to each packet. What is IP? Internet address, Internet Protocol address. The source machines and the destination machines Internet Protocol address are added with each packet, and frame checks and parity checks are also added in this layer. Frame check and parity checks are those for error correction. If there will be an error after transferring and reaching at the destination, it will find out that there is an error in the, if parity bit is changed, right? So it will be able to find that there is some problem in the data, right? And in the network layer, the data is handed over to a router. The router calculates the best path for data transmission, so which is the best path to transfer the data. And in the data link layer, transmission errors are handled, and also flow of data is regulated so that receivers are not swamped by fast senders. So they will any transmission error or any problem is there in the transmission, so that is handled by the data link layer, right? And then in the physical layer, frames are transmitted as bits through media such as optical fiber or whatever will be the bandwidth in that in those bits per second it will be transferred, right? Do you understand the OSI model, open system interconnection model? So that is you should know that there are 7 layers, right? Then you have networking devices. You have NIC modem. We talked about yesterday about NIC network interface card. That is your LAN card, right? And modem is a modulator demodulator. That means it converts your signal analog signal into digital and digital signal into analog. That is a modem. So modems can be internal modem, can be external modem. Like for the broadband connection, you have an external modem, external router you can say. But for some machine also have internal modem, that is on the motherboard they have the modem. Then you have repeater which amplifies your signal. You have bridge which connects two LANs, and you have hub which is a central point where your number of computers can be connected. You have switch, right? And you have router which routes your packets to translate the information and also routes the packets to different directions, and gateway which interconnects different kinds of network. So that is there. So they have given you. So now when we come to internet and its software components, so we know that internet has a whenever you are writing, suppose whenever we are opening a website, so what do we do? If we open a website, suppose I am opening this, so I am writing what is this? What is this? This is a website address, right? This is known as a URL. What is it known as? URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Remember the full form. It is Uniform Resource Locator. So whenever you type this address, actually where the server will be, web server is a machine where your website is actually located. Do you understand? A web server. So Google will have a web server at their headquarters or whatever, or distributed in India or everywhere. So at the web server level, the website has an IP address. What is an IP address? A unique address given to each machine. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right. So that IP address is a unique address given to each machine, and that is known as the logical address, not the physical address. Logical means we have created it. Right. The machine, we have created the address and given it to that machine, but the MAC address or media access control or is known as the physical address, which is the LAN card address. So basically what happens is this URL, that is your website name, the Uniform Resource Locator. So this google.com, what will there is a mechanism called DNS, domain name system, right? DNS, what does it do is, like you are writing in the browser google.com, so what will it do? The DNS will the domain name system will take this website name and see what is the IP address of this name, because domain name system server has all the websites with and their IP. Do you understand? The web server IP will be there. So what will it do? This the DNS will convert this name to IP address and search for it and find out the web where the web server is and connects to you and opens this page from the web server. Right?
Yes.
Right. So what happens is, if suppose earlier, if this name was not there and we had to write the IP address, would we be able to remember that? IP address are very difficult to remember, right?
Yes.
Every website's address, the IP address, we won't be able to remember. So that's why DNS was created, domain name system. so that each name will be converted to his IP address, and they will locate it and search for the web server machine where it is, and find out the website and displays it on the screen. So that happens. So that is what basically internet does. So here when we talk about the internet, so you have a unique address, which is your IP address for each system. So that is like for IGNU, they have ignu.ac.in, right? So every website has its own name, because humans can remember name. That's why domains have been created, names have been created. So that is there. So whenever you are connecting to the internet, the first thing you require, your system should have a operating system. Then you should have an internet browser. Yes. Yes or no? Internet browser is also required now.
Yes.
Right. So to open a website, so you require the internet browser, and you also require some firewall also. Why you require a firewall? So that,
the
there
website
are
doesn't
security
backfire.
problems, right, for viruses or hacking or anything. So to protect that, you also require firewall. Firewall is software as well, hardware also, but generally in our normal system we have a software firewall, right? So those are required. So they have given you that. We are not talking about that. So I talked about the TCP/IP model also. That is your internet host-to-host network or internet model also. So here you will have host network, internet, transport, and application. These have been four levels have been done from 7. So that is there. So internet layer, transport layer. So that has been shortened. Some of them have been merged. So we have discussed that yesterday also. So that is also there. Then when we are talking about the internet address, so we can classify the computer connected with internet in 2 categories, servers and clients. So server is a computer with the capacity to provide connectivity and sharing to multiple personal computers or clients. Any computing device you use to access the internet, which is specifically set to serve its files to client computers. So files that a server makes available to your computer can be web pages, videos, sounds, images. So what is a web server? Web server is a high-end machine or a server machine which has the capacity to provide connectivity and sharing of sharing to multiple computers or clients you can do with your web server, and it will provide you with web pages, videos, sounds, images, and all that. So generally the popular web server softwares, in a web server what software you can have Apache HTTP server, you can have Microsoft Internet Information Services, you can have Sun Java System Web Server. So these are the kinds of softwares or which for a web server, right, on to handle the website and all that. So these are the different softwares which you can have. Then we were talking about URL, that is Uniform Resource Locator. Uniform Resource Locator is the website name, like whatever www you are writing, right? So website address generally starts from, if you are talking about, it starts from http:// right, generally, then www.google.com, right? That is your whole URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Do you understand? Right. So what if I write here, what is HTTP? Anybody knows that?
Hypertext markup language.
No, I'm
So
not
sorry,
talking
HTML.
about
I'm sorry.
hypertext transfer
Hypertext
protocol.
transfer protocol.
Yes. Transfer protocol.
Right. So suppose this is your whole URL. If you say this is your whole URL, right? So this is your protocol. This HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, this helps you in transferring a web page, hypertext, that is page made in hypertext, that is HTML, to come this page has to be transferred from the web server to your client browser, and the page is www.google.com. Do you understand?
Yes.
This whole thing is known as a URL, right? You can also have some file or folder also there. Suppose there will be some folder and some file will be there, like I'm just giving an example. So this can also be added. This can also be there. This kind of address can be there. In the web server or this your website, you must be having different kinds of folders, and in the folder you will having different pages, web pages. So that is there with extension. So that this full thing is known as your URL. So whenever you enter the URL, so it takes you to that particular address. Right. Now I told you that where you are writing this URL, but actually this URL, this website will have a IP address, right? The web server will have a IP address, right? It will have an IP address, but for humans they have created website name. So what does the DNS, that is known as domain name system, right? Domain name server also you can say, domain name system also you can say. So this domain name system, this is a domain. This is called .com is a domain. That means it's a commercial site, right? So there are many domains like .com, .org, right? Country-wise domains are also there like .in, .us, .jp. Do you understand? Right. So these are known as domains. So these are the main domains. In the main domain, you can also have subdomains, right? In the main domains, you can also have subdomains, like you can have .ac, you can have .edu, right? You can have .gov. Do you understand? These are known as subdomains. So the main domains, suppose, are this. IN is the main domain. So suppose when we talk about IGNOU's website, so it is ignou.ac.in. So the main domain is IN and the subdomain is academics, that is .ac, and in that academics you will have the website called IGNOU. Do you understand?
Yes.
So this is the way actually the domain name system works. So what it does is the IP address, this IP address given to a machine or the web server machine where your website is residing. Suppose this IGNOU website is residing in some web server. So that will be having an IP address. So that whenever you click on ignou.ac.in, so what does the DNS do? It converts this name to the IP address of that web server. Because it will be taking it in bits now. Everything is taken digitally in bits. So the DNS converts it into bits of the IP address, and then it will search for the web server, and when it finds a web server with a website, it displays you with ignou.ac.in web page. Do you understand? This is what happens. So we should know what are the different IP addresses. So when we talk about IP address, they are unique address given to each machine. Do you understand? So IP address is an address having information about how to reach a specific host, especially outside the LAN. An IP address is a 32-bit unique address. How much bit it is? IPv version 4 is 32-bit address, right? So this is 4 in 4 byte, this is in 4 byte, this is in 4 byte, this is in 4 byte. Total is 32 bit, right? So the address space is 2 to the power 32 actually. So generally there are two notations in which IP address is written: dotted decimal notation and hexadecimal notation. So this is known as dotted decimal notation. What is this? 128.11.3.31. This is a decimal dotted decimal notation. Or you can also have in hexadecimal notation like this. This is known as hexadecimal notation, right?
Yes.
So generally we always talk about decimal notation. We don't take care of that hexadecimal. So we talk about dotted decimal notation only. So the value of any segment byte is from between 0 and 255. Right. So if it is a 32-bit address and the first segment, suppose this one, the first segment will be from 0 to 255, second will be 0 to 255, this will be 0 to 255, this will be 0 to 255. There are 4 parts in an IP address. Do you understand? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts. All 4 parts can be from 0 to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255. Right. So for the classful addressing, the 32-bit IP address is divided into how many subclasses? 5 subclasses. What are those? Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D. So there are how many classes of IP addresses?
4 में
4 नहीं 5 है. E is also there. A, B, C, D, E. Right. This D and E, when we talk, we generally take A, B, and C only with in our consideration. D and E are used for special purposes. Like D and E are reserved for multicast and experimental purposes. That's why we don't use D and E. Do you understand?
yes
They are reserved. D and E are reserved for multicast and multicasting and experimental purposes. So we don't see them. We generally are considered with A, B, and C. So A, B, and C only our IP addresses can reside, website address or whatever, right? Or machine address. So when we see, so our IP address will always be having 2 parts. The IPv version 4 address is divided into 2 parts, network ID and host ID. So when you see in different kinds of network, that is class A, if you see class A network, first byte, there are 4 parts, na? Byte 1, byte 2, byte 3, byte 4. So the first byte will have the network ID and the byte 2, 3, 4 will have the host ID. Right. Class B will have byte 1 and byte 2 as the network ID and byte 3 and byte 4 as the host ID. Class C will have byte 1, 2, 3 as network ID and byte 4 as the host ID. And D and E, I told you this is multicast address and this is reserved. So we don't consider them. So we are generally having these 3 addresses which are important to us. Okay. Class A, Class B, Class C. So in class A, this one is a network ID and 2, 3 and 4 are host IDs. And class B, 2 are network ID and 2 are host ID. And class C, 3 are network ID and 1 is a host ID. So when we talk about their from what to what is the class A network. So class A network is from 0 to 127. It is not given here, I think. No problems. 0 to 127 is the range for class A. Class B has 128 to 191, and class C has from 192 to 227 or something is a class C network, right? There is a range of classes in each. So when we are coming here, see what when you see here 192.168 192.168.1.97. Are you seeing this address, IP address? Yes.
yes
Can we talked about the 3 addresses. Class A. Class A's range is 0 to 127, right? Then when we talk about class B, it is 128 to 191, right? And class C Class C is 192 to 227, something like that. So 192 starting, if your starting address name is 192, then which class address it is? It is a class C, right? So here it is written 192.168.1.97. So it is a what kind of network?
C
Class C network, right? So class C network, and IPv address is always a four numbers separated by dots. 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers separated by dots, and the 4 number will range from 0 to 255. All the 4 numbers can range from 0 to 255. And IPv version 4 is a 4-byte address. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one will be taking a byte. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-byte address, and total 4, it will come out to be 32-bit. 8 fours are how much? 1 byte is how much equal to?
8 bit.
8
1
bits?
byte is just 20.
1 byte is 8 bit now.
Yes.
And there are 4 bytes in this. So 4 8s are how much?
32.
32 bits. So the IPv version 4 is a 32-bit address. And whenever we are talking about that we want that IPv version 4 addresses may be used to identify a computer. Some addresses of IPv4 version 4 are not used at all due to certain restrictions. In addition, some addresses are reserved. For example, this where all the 255, 255, 255 is used for broadcast address, right? So this is not used. You understand? So this is reserved. So we were talking about that all the 32-bit IP address consists of 2 components, either the network ID, which identifies one of the network that is a part of the internet, or device ID, or you can say host ID, which identifies a specific device within the identified network. So always it is divided into net ID or host ID or device ID, you can say. And net ID may be of 8 to 24-bit long. So net ID, when we see here, so it will be 8 to 24-bit long. Why they are saying 8 to 24-bit long? Because if you say in the class A, it is only how much? 8, right? In class B, it is how much? 8 2s are 16, and in
16.
class C, it is 8
32.
3s are 24,
24.
right?
24.
So that's why what it is saying, ki all network ID will be between 8 to 24 bit, right? So by using a subnet mask in combination with their own IP address, you can determine the destination address of the devices is remote or local. So why a subnet mask is used? Why a subnet mask tells you that whether this machine which you are accessing is a remote location machine or a local machine. Do you understand? Right. Subnet mask will help you in finding out whether the IP address the device IP as or the destination address address you are searching for is a remote machine or a local machine. For example, if you have this IP address 192.168.1.35 having 24-bit net ID, and now how they decided that this machine has 24-bit net ID? Can you tell me?
It's
192 is a class C network.
Class C network.
Right. So 192
network.
is a class C network, and class C network, the number of host ID, number of net ID is 24, right?
24.
Byte 1, 2, 3, right? 24 bits,
Yes.
right? So that's why they said that having 24-bit net ID, the remaining 8 bits, that means the last one, this this is the host ID, right?
Yes.
These 8 bits are only the host ID. So that is your device ID. The remaining 8 bits of this address specifies the device ID. So the subnet mask for this network should be 255.255.255.0.
So it's a broadcast.
No, broadcast is all through 255. Here where
The
net
last is
ID,
0.
where all the net IDs are there, the subnet mask for that machine, for a machine of class C network, where 3 bytes are the network ID and 1 byte is for the host ID. The host ID will be 0, you will put for the subnet mask in the class C network, and other net ID you will put 255.255.255. Right?
Yes.
So this will be the subnet mask. So suppose if I am talking about class A network, so what will be the subnet mask for class A network? What will be the subnet mask for this? Now if you see class A network, you have 1 byte for the net and 3 bytes for the host, right? So what will be the subnet mask here?
Just 255 dot and the remaining is
0.
0.
This will be the subnet mask, right?
In
And what
class
will
B, first two will be 255 and the other will 0.
Now do you understand how you take the subnet mask? So this will be there. And class C, we know that class C subnet mask will be
First 3 will be 255 and the remaining will be 0.
this. Do you understand subnet mask now? How they have taken the subnet mask, right? So now, if the so subnet mask for this machine will be this one. So this subnet mask is used to identify the IP address of the network, right? So this will help you understand whether the computer is in the what you say in local area, or the local device it is, or a remote device it is. So that it will help you. That is a subnet mask, right? So they have given you the subnet mask here, IP address range and their subnet mask, right? So we are not talking about that. So suppose your computer has an IP address of 193.168.1.35, right? What is your IP address? This is your IP address. It's a class C network.
Yes.
And you want
Yes,
to
sir.
access a location, and now you want to access a location called 193.168.1.56, right?
Yes.
So as your subnet mask, this is also a class C network, this is also a class C network, right? Your machine is class C and you want to access also class C network, right? Now
Yes.
your subnet mask is how much? The 3 will be 255.0, right?
Yes.
So that will be your class C network subnet mask. So it will give you the following answer, that your machine is this 193.168.1.35 and your subnet mask is this. So now what will happen is this what they have done is where there is 255, where there is network, right? Network ID 255 255, there you will take the 193.168.1 directly down in the result, and where there is host ID 35, you will make it to 0. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right. Now what location you have to access? 193.168.156. This you wanted to access. Again you will put the subnet mask down. You will copy the network IDs 193.168.1 and you will make 56 to, what will you make? To 0. The host ID will be 0. So since the result of both the operation points to same network ID. See, the network ID is the same now for
Yes.
both. For both
Yes.
it is same. 193.168.1, 193.168.1, right? Both is pointing to the same network now.
Yes.
Therefore, you can conclude that the referred destination address is local. The machine you are accessing is a
Local
machine, right? And same way, suppose this is your machine, your IP address 191. Now 191 is a class B network, right?
Yes.
From 192 class C starts. 190 up to 191 is a class B network, right? So this machine is of matlab I am on class B network, and this machine address is class B network, and your network ID is 16-bit long now. 2 byte na,
Yes, it's 2 bytes. So
right? Network ID. So 16-bit long is your network ID. Suppose you want to access a location 190.168.1.35. Since you have 16-bit net ID, therefore your network subnet mask will be 255.255.0.0, right?
yes,
So you will see that your network is 191.168.0.0, and the access location ID is 190.168.0.0. So are these both networks same? 191 and 190?
yes. No, no,
No,
it's no different. It's 191.
right? So the result of both the
Yeah,
operation points to different network IDs. Therefore, you can conclude that the referred destination IP address is remote, right?
yes.
Ma'am, if being uh, local network, could that
Hmm.
mean that those two pieces or those two machine would actually
Hmm.
be a LAN machine as well?
They can be in a local area network, right? And here, when you are finding out that these are remote machines, so you have to route. Now you have to decide the route where to access that machine, right? The router has to decide the route now, because you have to access what? A remote machine. So this is just generally just told. They are just generally give you an example that IP addresses are the ones which actually work on the network, right? IP are the unique addresses for each machine on the network. So there will be a network ID, there will be a host ID, right? And if you are on the different networks, then you have to take a path and access that machine. Otherwise, you are on the same local area network,
Yes.
right? Then now from IPv version 4, now you have now another version of IP has come, that is version 6, right? So that is a 128-bit internet protocol version. From 32-bit, how much has it has increased? Right? It has increased from 32-bit to 128. Do you understand? So now if you access the network nowadays the new PCs also have IPv version 6 also. So now because see there are so many of websites, so many of machines, web servers and all that. So or if you give if the all the IP addresses have already been filled in the IP version 4. Do you understand that?
Yes.
So increase the range. They have now have IP version 6, which is 128-bit, right? So can you understand what is an IP address now, right? You should know what is an IP address. It's a unique address to identify a computer on the network, right?
Ma'am, is both the IP systems are running together parallelly? IP4 and 6.
No, not parallelly. You can say nowadays they are started using IP version 6 addresses.
Mhm.
But in the system, both the things are given. IP version 4 is given, IP version 6 is given.
Uh,
If
when
your internet service provider is having an IP address of 4, so it will be using 4 only. If a new thing comes and it is using 6, so it will use 6.
means it depends upon my ISP.
ISP, internet part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So much secure is the bigger one, IPv6.
It is security. See, security doesn't matter in the IP internet protocol. That is not the security reason. Security is maintained by other things also. It is It is because of the network, which because so nowadays everything is digital. Every person is using a computer or a mobile or whatever network the person may be using. So for that reason, they require so many of IP addresses. Do you understand?
It's about scalability.
Yeah. So you want to scale more, so that's why they have increased the number of bits and IP version from 4. They are now going to IP version 6.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, ma'am.
So that is IP addresses. Now I talked about DNS, domain name system, right?
Yes.
So we write a website name here. We can remember names of a person or name of website, but we cannot remember the IP address. Can you remember the IP address?
No.
You
No,
won't be able
sorry.
to remember the IP address of each machine, right? Suppose this www.gignu.ac.in has an IP address 190.10.10.247. Would you able to remember this?
No.
No. So that's why to make our problem easy, they have given a name to the website, which is easy to remember. Right. And what is the work of the DNS is it converts this name to the IP address of that web server machine where the website is residing, and the link is created to that machine through this IP address. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that is the work of DNS. Right. So such a service to enable the use of simple textual address, you will require a service that will map these text-based names to respective IP address automatically. Automatically it maps the name to the IP address. So such a service was designed in 1983 by the University of Wisconsin with the name domain name system. So the present day internet domain name system should keep track of address of each computer or any other internet device and email addresses. The name servers translate the web address or email address to respective IP address. For example, the name server translates address like www.ignu.ac.in to a computer understandable IP address. So this is the work of what? DNS. To convert your name to a IP
address.
address. Right. Now for first you can find suppose in the this is the generic domains they have given like .com, .edu, .org, .net, .gov, .in, .us, right? They have given these are country wise domains, these are generic domains, right? These so suppose in .com also IBM.com, Microsoft.com, Sun.com, right? There are websites. For ORG, non-profit organizations are there. Those are ORG, so W3.org or something. EDU is also there. Some educational institutions will have that. .net are there. Networking sites will have that. Right? .gov is there for government sites. You will have that. So for IGNU, what is happening is ignu.ac.in is your domain, and for Yahoo in India it is yahoo.co.in. Like Google also has google.co.in, right? So these are subdomains. These are known as ac.co. These are known as subdomains. So this
Even
is the
Amazon will show a different domains .co, .uk, .in.
both that see for IGNU is not available in
Other
other
countries.
countries,
So
but
it
there are
shows in.
certain websites like Google is available in US also. .us
Hmm.
version can come. .jp version. There are websites which are distributed, which have servers everywhere. So you will distributed server means that they will be having server in India also. They will be having server in Japan also, UK also, US also. So wherever you are,
Yes,
so
even the
that
products listed in those kind of servers are different than the others we
different
have
from
in
the
India.
Indian websites,
Yes.
right? So they have distributed servers. So they those websites will have different domains in their own perspective, or their own country-wise domains will be there. So that is there. So that is what domain this domain does, right? So this, suppose this is your URL, http://www.ignou.ac.in/student/result.html. This is your URL, right? So what will happen is this HTTP, what does it do? Hypertext transfer protocol. This will access this page. It will transfer the link to DNS, domain name system. So the domain name, the hypertext transfer protocol will tell domain name system that this page has to be transferred. So domain name system will see this page that this is www.ignou.ac.in, and it will find out the web server IP address, the name of the page accessed by you, and then after finding out the web IP address, it will go to the particular folder, that is students, and the page result.html, which resides in the student folder within the website, and then they will open the hypertext transfer protocol will transfer that particular thing to your browser, and the page will be displayed. Do you understand? So this is what happens in the domain name server. Other things are not so much important. So generally hypertext means hypertext is related to internet pages. Do you understand? Hypertext is always related to internet pages. So whatever is there on the web server is a hypertext, and that page is transferred by the hypertext transfer protocol. Right. Now, when we talk about email addresses, as you have studied earlier, that email is one of the popular services increasingly being used, right?
Yes.
Electronic mail. So you have Gmail, Rediff, Yahoo, MSN, whatever. There are different kinds of email services. So what is the basic format of an email? You have a username, your user ID, right? Then you have @ symbol. Then you will have the subdomain and domain. Yes or no?
Yes.
So you will have like suppose IGNOU has some mail that like coe@ignou.ac.in, right? Like they have given abc@yahoo.co.in, abc@gmail.com, right? So this is the format of your email generally, but so instantly you can transfer your mail from through the email network from, and here also there are different protocols working. Email protocols are also there. Protocols are rules through which you transfer your emails also. So there are SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, POP, Post Office Protocol. So there are different protocols also working on this. So that is a separate issue. So do you understand this chapter on networks and internet?
Yes.
Right. So this is your networks and internet, right? And what else is there?
Will those kinds of question will be asked to like verify if it's on the same network or the one which we did on
If
templating?
probably they will ask, then I have told you how to do it.
Yes.
Right. What you can do is, I don't know whether you will have a multiple choice question or you will have a descriptive question paper. I don't know about that, right? So I'm just suggesting to you that you go to IGNOU website, right? And you have student support here. Go to student zone under student support. You have question papers here, right? Can you see that?
Yes. Old question papers.
You also have assignments, you have question papers. So just go to the question papers. So suppose I want to see June 2021. Your school is SOCIS.
SOCIS. Okay.
Yeah, School of Information and Computer Sciences.
Okay.
SOCIS, right? This School of Computer and Information Sciences, right?
Yes.
Right. So yours is Bachelor of Computer Applications. Just click on this, right? This is BCS-11, Computer Basics and PC Software, right? So just click on it. So you will get the question paper of that year. right? So here, this descriptive paper is question number 1 is compulsory, right? So question number 1 has A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I parts, right? And other 3 questions, other 4 you can attempt any 3, 5 or 4, whatever is there. 2, 3, 4, other 4 questions you will attempt any 3, right? So
I see
see,
there was the question, I guess,
what?
on second or third page
What question?
about that.
This one,
Identify the net ID, device ID for IP mask.
uh,
So it may be asked.
identify the net ID and device ID for the following IP address and subnet mask pairs. So so you have to identify the network ID and the device ID. So this is your network ID and
Yes.
this is your device. That's all you have to identify. Here, this is your network ID. These both.
Instead
And
of
these are
asking
your.
if there's on same network, they would just ask what is
If
your.
they are on the same network, then just you can show that.
Yes.
So
Okay,
there's
ma'am.
not a problem. Right. So first question is convert the following numbers as asked. This is a decimal number with a floating point to binary you have to convert. Right. Then this binary number you have to convert to decimal and this binary number to hexadecimal and this hexadecimal to binary. Right. It is simple, not a problem. What does a why does a computer need main memory and what is cache memory? How is main memory different from cache memory? This is a question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of using inkjet printer? They have asked, right? Draw a flowchart to find the sum of the first n natural numbers. A university wants to maintain, manipulate and organize large student data. Which software will be needed by the university? Can you give it, just tell this
Excel
we
sheet.
have done.
Microsoft Excel or a spreadsheet, you can say.
You can say database, MS
SQL.
Access or Oracle, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
Whenever you are talked about to maintain and manipulate and organize data, na,
Hmm.
so that will always be a database. If they tell you that you have to analyze the data or do calculations on data, then you can say spreadsheet, right? So that will be always database. Explain the internet-based architecture of software with the help of a diagram. So here that software architecture, internet-based architecture, they are asking you where you have web application and database and client, that kind of a thing. What are the different domains used in web addresses? So you can tell the different domains used in the web addresses .com, .edu, .gov, .that, right? Countrywise, .in, .us, whatever. How is an IP address different from a web address? A web address is HTTP URL http://www.ignu.ac.in, right?
Yes.
And what is an IP address? That is a 4 byte or a 32-bit address, right? Which is converted by the DNS automatically.
Yes.
So what is a browser? What is a cookie? Is cookie a threat to information security or privacy? Justify your answer. So this we will be doing right now, the next unit, right? What is a browser? What is a cookie, right? Cookies are generally information saved in your browser, right? They are not a threat.
They're actually getting your
They
relevant
they
data for you.
They actually, suppose username and password, suppose you save it or your email or something you save in your browser, na? The cookies are saved, so next time when you open it, you won't have to log in again or something you have to put. They will access it from the cookies, your information. That is what is a cookie actually. List and explain any two processes that are part of e-learning system. This will also be, we will be doing in the next thing. This is what we have done today. How does the search on keyword intelligent or system differ from the search intelligent and system explain? Acha, or and, what is the difference between that they are asking? If you suppose want to search on the internet intelligent or system. And if you say intelligent and system, intelligent or system means either it will find out on intelligent or it can find out on system also. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And means both of them it has to find, intelligent and system. Compulsorily both the things have to be found.
So it's a logical expression.
Yeah. So what is a modem? Why is it used in networking? So I have told you modem is a modulator demodulator which converts your signal from analog to digital, digital to analog. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So explain the characteristics and advantages of wide area network. So wide area network is your internet, and it has all the computers in the network are connected, right? So it has a bigger range than LAN and MAN. So that is wide area network. So all the characteristics which we yesterday studied, you can write. What are the characteristics of twisted pair cable? Compare its features with optical fiber. So you have to compare like how much range your twisted pair has from this from 100 to 0 to 100 meters or something like that was there, and what is fiber optic and how does fiber optic works. You can
And
compare
also
that.
the transfer speed, I guess.
Transfer speed also. Explain how object-oriented software design paradigm is different from structure and modular design. So object-oriented is based on objects and other concepts, and structure and modular design is based on your structure, that is your functions and procedures. Right? So that is there. What is the need of an operating system? Why do you need an operating system? Because that is the without the operating system, you cannot communicate with the hardware, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So give names of two popular operating systems. So you can give the name Windows and
Mac.
Linux or whatever. Suppose you want to transfer a file from your hard disk to a CD. Which of the following services of the operating system will be used and for what purpose? User interface.
File management, input output.
So suppose you want to transfer a file from your hard disk to a CD. Which of the following services of the operating system will be used and for what purpose? Which one will be used? Memory management.
Won't it be no?
File management and memory management.
File management.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess it will be file management.
You can say file management also, because you are transferring the file from the hard disk to a
CD.
CD. So file management will also be there, memory management will also be there.
It's a one word: process control and management and memory management.
No, that they are put comma, and the last one is and.
Okay. Yes.
Right. Explain which software will be required to perform the following task. Also list 4 features of these software. Scheduling of task. Which software will you use? Project management software. Remember?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Then creating mail merge.
Outlook.
Your Word document, Word processing software, mail merge. Right? Entering formulas and functions. Spreadsheet, Excel.
Yes.
Creating presentation, PowerPoint, PPT. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Explain the working of a basic computer with the help of a diagram showing its basic components. So you have to explain the computer, working of the computer with the input unit, CPU, output unit, memory unit, right? The diagram. Remember the John von Neumann diagram? You have input,
Yes.
CPU is ALU and CU parts, and you have output and you have memory unit. What are the differences between primary and secondary memory of a computer? So what is the difference? Primary memory is the memory which is temporary, right? And secondary memory is a permanent memory.
Yes.
Primary memory is RAM and
RAM.
ROM, right? And secondary memory is your hard disk, pen drive and all. And which of them is larger in size?
Secondary.
Secondary memory.
Secondary.
Which of them is faster? That is your
Primary.
primary memory.
Primary.
Right? Explain the role of the following utility software: disk checkers and system restore. So what does disk checkers do? They check your system disk, whether it is
Correct order or corrupted.
correct order. It is not corrupted on an. And what does system restore do?
Backups the files, or if anything
Yes.
goes
If,
wrong,
if,
you can
if
just.
you want that some problem has occurred in your system, so you want to get back to the before restore point which you have created, which keeps a backup of your restore point. So you can go back to that point and your system will be restored. Right? What is the use of digitizing graphic tablet and joystick? What is the use of digitizing graphic tablet? It helps you in
It's help in handling. It has become much more easier to like take a bigger joystick in hand, or basically we can just tap it on tap, so it is easy now.
so digitizing graphic tablet will help you in drawing also, or marking also, or pointing also the things on the computer.
It
Yes.
becomes more precise now.
Yeah. And joystick is it's just a gaming device for pointing to a particular thing, right? It's not like digitizing graphic tablet. It's just a gaming device where you can move the game person which is in the game and from forward or backward or whatever, right? Explain any 5 of the following with the help of an example: supercomputer, 4th generation computer, disk layout of a CD-ROM, perverse software, that is your malwares, open source software, wiki, TCP/IP. Any 5 you have to explain. The supercomputer is in size and in memory it is
Very small.
Bigger.
very big. The memory size is very high, processing power is very high, speed is very high. The fastest computer is the supercomputer, right?
Yes,
And the
yes.
memory is also high. 4th generation computers are your which uses the technology ultra large scale integration, ULSI, right? And they are having right now we are going into artificial intelligence was in the fourth generation, right? What are programming languages you are using? It is the processing speed have increased and your systems have become the size of a hand size, right? So these things you can tell about the 4th generation. Then you can also tell about the disk layout of a CD-ROM, like the disk will have tracks and
Surfaces.
tracks will have sectors.
It basically has two surface, right?
Right. No, one surface. CD-ROM will have one surface.
One for read and one for write.
No, that is a hard disk which has two surfaces. CD-ROM will have one surface only
Okay.
for reading and writing. Right. So these are the questions which they have asked. From the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th and 5th, you have to answer any 3, and first is compulsory. Right. I don't think so. It is a difficult paper. It is easy in first semester. Right. Just you have to read
yes.
your blocks. So you are conversant with your blocks. You can answer the questions. There's no problems. Right. So I've told you where to find out your question papers from. Right. So you will go to student support, and in student support you will go to student zone. Here, student zone on the website, and there you can also find assignments and other things, right? And go to question papers, and then you can click on which year question paper you want. If you want to download 5-year question paper, download 2021, 2020, June 2020, December 2019, so if and June 2019, you can download the 5-year question papers. Go to the question paper. You will find the Control F. Just do it. SOCIS, that is School of Computer Information Sciences, and go to this, and you can find out the question papers, right?
Right.
Right. So we were talking about the second unit now, which is your web application one. So here you will be learning about your what is browsing. What is browsing? When you are surfing the internet or you are searching something on the internet or information, then it is known as browsing only, na?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So what do you require for browsing the internet? You will require a browser.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So what is a browser? It's a software. A web browser is a software application that enables you to find, retrieve, and display information available on the World Wide Web. Right?
Right.
On the internet, whatever information you want to retrieve or you want to display or you want to see, you will require a web browser. Right? And everything which is on the web browser is in hypertext markup language, HTML. Right? Is always will be in the hypertext format. So they are just explaining that only. So types of web servers also you should know. What are the different web server? Web server is a machine which is actually having the application of website, right? Your website is residing where?
In a machine.
In the web server, right? So you are always accessing the web server. If you are opening a website, you are actually accessing the web server of that website, right? So you
Yes.
have FTP servers, mail server, file server, print server, terminal server. There are so many of servers, web servers, right? So how does the browser work is the web client, which may be the web browser, the web server that serves the request of the web client, and the network that connects the client and servers to a network such as LAN, WAN, or the internet. Right. So these three things are working actually. Web browser is the client. That means I am the client, right? I am on the web browser, and I open a particular website. So it will be the web server which will service my request. Yes. Right. And I will be connected through the network, through LAN, WAN, or internet, right, to access that particular web server. So this is how your what does work. Web browser works, right? And what does HTTP does? HTTP transfers the hypertext HTML format page to your browser. That is the work of HTTP. Right. Now they are telling you the browser has what components, like you have back button, forward button, recent history, address bar, search box, right? Refresh, stop, right? Your browser. You know that, all of you? Right here in Google Chrome, this is your address bar, right, where you write the address. This
Yes.
is your refresh,
Yes.
reload. This is your back button. This is your forward button, right?
Yes.
So in different browsers, different kinds of things are there, but they are similar. You have minimize, maximize, close button also. You have search button also, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So there are different kinds of things which are there. So if you want to see the history, you can go to settings, the three symbols which are there, and you go to the history, and you can visit those history pages also. Right. So they are telling you that. I'm not going for that. What are the different buttons and all that? That's not required. Then we have talked about the DNS. What does the DNS do? Right. So they are talking about the web browser history now, that when was the first web browser came. In the late 1980s, a variety of technologies laid down the foundation for World Wide Web, and Sir Tim Berners-Lee was the person who laid the foundation of WWW, that is World Wide Web, right? And the first graphical web browser which led to explosion of web usage was developed in 1993 by under the leadership of Mark Anderson. The browser was named NCSA Mosaic. This was the first graphical web browser, right, in 1993. And then Netscape Navigator was very popular browser in 1994. It was 90% was the usage at that time. Then came Microsoft Internet Explorer in 1995, and the software was too much used in 2002 and later. And Opera was started in 1996. Firefox was evolved from Netscape in 2004. Apple Safari 2003. Google Chrome in 2008. Right? These are the popular browsers. So you have different types of browsers also. You have line mode browser, graphical user interface based browsers, Java enabled browsers. What is line mode browsers? Line mode browsers were initial browsers which were only text mode browsers. That means there were no graphics. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
When initially there was no graphics, so there were text mode browsers, and the example of that browser is Lynx, Lynx. Lynx is a line mode browser. So there were only text which you could read. There was no video, image, and all that. Then came graphical user interface based browsers, which nowadays all the browsers are graphical user interface, right? All the graphics are there, text, images, video, whatever you want, animation, you can see that. Right, and Java enabled web browsers are what? Which are generally running on the support of Java programming language, right? Java runtime environment they are running, and these browsers can dynamically load Java applet from web server or web client. An example is Lobo, Lobo, Java enabled web browser. But these are generally not used because nowadays the graphical user browsers which you have all have Java facility also and all that, right? So these were the three kinds of browsers. And then when we talk about browser security, so we were talking about cookies, right? So the cookie, when we talk about security, one more thing is there, like you write HTTP and you also write HTTPS, right? For the banking sites or the payment sites, you generally go for HTTPS.
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Because
For
that is
security reason.
yeah, because of its security purpose, because hypertext transfer protocol secured. S means secure, right? If you are browsing a secure website, then you will find HTTPS at the beginning. In case you are browsing from a public computer, then you must delete the contents of web cache, cookies, and browsing history. So remember, suppose if you are paying, doing some payment, banking, reservation, or something like that, so you should always see that you are typing the right address. That is your HTTPS address, right? First and foremost, for security reason, you should see that. And second of all, you should also see that if you are browsing on some public computer, that means on some cyber cafe or something, you are paying something on the cyber cafe, so remember to delete the cache history and browsing history, right? For security, they are telling you this. For your own computer, it is okay, right? So these things you should know. Then what is a cookie? A cookie is a small message sent by the web server to your web client. This message is stored by the browser as a text file. The basic purpose of cookie is to store information needed by a server at the user end only. The cookie is used to send information back to the web server each time the browser requests a page from the server. Do you understand? What does this mean? It's a small message from by the web server to the web client, right? That is your browser, and the message is stored by the browser as a text file. So the information what the server requires at the user end is stored in the cookie, and whenever you visit that server, each time the browser requests a page from the server, the cookie can be taken care, right? Do you understand? For example, a website may ask you to fill up a form with the information about your name and interest. This information is packed by the server into a cookie and sent to your web browser, which stores it for later use. The next time you go to the same website, your browser will send the stored cookie to the web server along with the request of a web page. This way, the server will be able to remember you and send you only that information that you had desired earlier. Right? So they keep information regarding whatever you have filled on that website. Next time you visit that, again you visit that website, so it will remember your content and all those things about you. Right? So are cookies bad?
It depends, I guess, what their policy says.
So cookies are merely text files that can be deleted at any time. They are not malicious or not they are they programs. Cookies cannot be used to spread virus and they cannot take control of your hard drive. However, they contain important information about you. So if some anonymous persons access your browser or gets your the cookie information, then it will be a problem. Otherwise, it's not a virus. Do you understand?
So in Chrome, there is this option of autofill. When you try to fill any kind of form, it will auto tell or auto
Yeah.
type your name, your email, or something. So
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this all thing being saved in
Yeah,
cookies?
saved in a cookie.
Okay.
So if
So
you
can
want,
it save any of bank
you
data?
can whenever you are deleting history, na.
Hmm.
So
Yes,
you
it
can,
asks, do you want to clear cookies?
you want to clear cookies. So if you want to clear the cookies, you can clear that. So privacy information can is a problem. Otherwise, it's not a problem, right?
Ma'am, when I have deleted entire cookies and caches of my computer, the form fill data does not get deleted.
The form fill data does not get deleted because that is the
That
part
stored in
of the
cache.
that is part of
That
the
is
web
stored in cache.
browser.
Yeah,
No,
no, because the last guy said that cookie, the form data is cookies. So that's why I asked this question.
No, generally, see, if you see in your mobiles also, cookies keep the data of websites only, right, which you are visiting, right, and you are filling some form of the website, the web server saves the cookies in your web browser, right?
So the
If you
form
have
fill data
visited
are saved
that,
in our own
that
systems.
data is saved in your Windows or your browser.
Okay, ma'am.
Right. So that data generally when you fill something like in your mobiles also, if you try to fill something, it automatically gives the right. So that is in the part of Windows and all. So that it remembers.
Okay, ma'am.
But what we are talking about cookies will always save the websites you visit generally. Right. The website you visit and the web server saves that part in your some websites say that the cookies will be stored in your browser. They write also at the bottom of the thing, some websites, right? So that is what you should do. So that is what cookies are. Then what is searching? When you talk about searching, what is searching?
searching means we can search about anything, any information
Yes,
in search bar of
yes.
any search engine or
So
any.
so you have many things which are there for your search. So searching means you search on the search engine only, na? So what are search engine?
Search engines are like
Browser.
Bing, Google, or your I don't know anything.
Search engines are basically websites,
DuckDuckGo like.
Yeah,
generally websites which help you search information on the internet, right? So that is a search engine. Like Yahoo is there, Google is there, Ask.com is there. Many search engines are there, right? So search engine can be defined as a tool to search diverse and disorganized sources of information available on the internet. Right. So programs that continuously keep searching for information from web pages are called spiders, robots, crawlers, wanderers, and worms. You understand? So you have to write programs in the search engines. There are programs written which search for the information on the on different web pages. Do you understand? There are so many of websites now.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So on so many of websites, so for the content to be find a particular search, you have given on the search engine that I want to search this information. So many of websites are searched, and there are programs which search the different websites, and those programs are called spiders, robots, crawlers, wanderers, and worms, which search for the sites which are giving the same information which you are requiring. You understand? So links will be given to you.
So basically, it searches those keywords in every page it has
Yes.
on the internet.
Yeah. So there are programs written for that. That those programs are known as spiders, robots, crawlers, wanderers, and worms. And then the search engine finds and classifies and stores information about the contents of various websites on the internet. So there are primary search engine, web directory, meta search engines. So primary search engines, such search engines use web crawlers or spiders to traverse the web and scan website for keywords, phrases to generate database of web pages having some indexing or classification, like Google and Alta Vista. And web directory organize information into categories and subcategories or directories. You can search a web directory for all those entries that contain a particular set of keywords. So directories differ from search engines in the way they organize information. Yahoo is an example of web directory, right? Search engine and directory are different. They organize a web directory list of entries or particular set of keywords what you are searching. They organize data in different way, like not like search engines. And what are meta search engines? Such search engines pass your queries to many search engines and web directories and present summarized result to the users. Do you understand? Right. See, so you have search engines, right? So what does meta search engines do? They will search the search engines and the directories, the other search engines and the directories which are there, and summarize the result, find out from the different search engines and directories and summarize the result for the users. An example is Dogpile, Infind, Metacrawler, Metafind, and Metasearch. So there are websites also which do meta searching also. So they will find out results from other search engines and web directories.
Wikipedia is example.
Wikipedia will always be a search engine.
Wikipedia is a separate.
Primary search engine only. It's not a meta search engine. It doesn't find out the links. Does it find out the links? It just gives you the information. It doesn't give you too much of links, right? Like,
no, it gives information, but if you traverse at the very below, it will show you the
it will
source
show
from
you
where
the different websites which will be linked
from
to
where
that
it
page.
got its own information. So it will just give you the links of where it got the information.
So they are explaining about what is spidering or web crawling. So spider or web crawler is a computer program that browses web pages or www in a systematic automated manner. Search engines use spider for getting up-to-date data on websites. They are used to create a copy of the pages listed by them for later processing to create index. So basically, spidering or web crawler is a computer program. It is made by a programmer. And what this do, the spider do that in the search engine, the spider the program gets up to date information on the websites, right? And they create copies of the pages so that later on somebody searches for the same information which you have searched, or a new search have been done, so there will be a page in the search engine and it will be displayed to you automatically. So that kind of a thing is created. Same way indexing is there. Once the spiders have completed the task of finding information about web pages, the search engine must store the information in such a way that you are able to use it. The search engine may provide some information relating to relevance of information, maybe in the form of ranking. So the in Google, you know that search engine optimization is there. So the most searched site is generally the top one, right? Do you know that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So that kind of a thing is indexing. So they generally do indexing, that which is the most searched site or most visited site or most information is from which site. So they keep that site in the first three options. So that is given. So we are not going for that. Then we talked about, they ask you a question, how to do searching. They ask you a question, suppose Boolean search you are doing, Boolean because logical, right? And or you are using, that's why they are saying Boolean, right? To find out website which contains Java tutorial, you may type Java tutorial in the search box of the browser. The search will look for keywords Java and tutorial. The search expression will retrieve all these records where both the terms occur, right? You have not given and. Have you given and here?
No.
No. But it will always use and by default, that Java and tutorial you have to find out both the things, right? You may use other Boolean operators like or and not in the searches. For example, if you are interested either in web pages having keyword Java or they are tutorials, then you may use search expression as tutorials or Java, right? Or can also be used. So either it will give you a Java or it will give you a tutorial. If you are looking for tutorials that are not related to Java, then then you will use an expression tutorial and not Java like this. So it will find out tutorials but not Java. So that is how they are telling you. So can you understand what is and or?
Yes.
And why do you put quotation marks?
To highlight which is our main character we are trying to search.
The word between the quotation marks are treated as a phrase, and that phrase must be found within the document of or file, right? That is important. If you are writing in quotation marks.
It even asks, I guess, if you search anything, it asks you, do you mean this? Do you mean
It
that?
asks you, do you mean this in double quotes? So you can also select that also if you are not writing. So that is there. So they are telling you about the different browsers, that is Google and Yahoo. They are showing you how to search in Google and how to search in Yahoo. They are just advanced search. How do you do advanced search also they are telling you, right? So for the advanced search also you can do in Yahoo. Sorry. Yeah, Yahoo also they are telling. You can do image search also, right?
Yes, click on any
So
image.
if you do something, so whatever you are searching, so you can also write image or whatever. It also gives you options to search a web or search images or search videos. So that kind of a thing. So that is what they are telling you. That can be done practically. Then when we talk about emails, right? What are emails? Electronic mail is a faster than post mail, and email cannot be lost like letters and can be stored for long time, right? Your post can be lost, can email be lost? If you have
No, ma'am.
deleted, then it is not a problem.
But it can't be lost like that.
It can be edited and forwarded to other persons. Emails are not affected by distances. It can be sent anywhere in the world in seconds. Unlike postal mails, you can add video and audio with the email also, right? And the disadvantage is what? You should have mobile devices or computer to send it. Nowadays, everybody has it, but
And
generally,
an active internet connection.
right, there is a need of knowledge of opening email account. You should also know how to open it and how to handle the email, right? So what is the history? The history is the same which was for the internet. The ARPANET, the Department of Defense of America created the internet, and there only they started this kind of service as email. And the email standard which was used at that time was Simple Mail Transfer Protocol (SMTP). Right. Later on in 2004, one more internet standard for email began. That was Post Office Protocol. Right. So that was there. So how to create your email? They are telling you. All of you know that, right? You can either go for Google, Gmail. You can go for Yahoo. You can go for whatever other Hotmail or whatever, or Outlook. You can. So they are creating in Gmail your account, right? This I don't need to tell you, right? So what all options you have in your email? You have inbox, where you your mail read or unread mails are there, right? You have sent mail, where whatever mails you have sent will be in the sent mail. Drafts, if you have put any mail in the as a draft, so it will be in the draft. Spams are the unsolicited emails or junk mails, right? They can be some advertising mails sent to you, or some kind of mails which are spam, which are so that automatically goes into the spam. And trash is your recycle bin, where you whatever mails you delete go to the trash, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is compose mail? Whenever you want to write a mail, then it is compose mail. New mail you want to write, then you have to go to compose mail. Then you also have contacts in your mail, right? And when you are writing a mail, that is, you are composing a mail, so what all options are there? You have two means the person whom you want to send the mail. So mail ID will be given. CC is what? Carbon copy. CC means carbon copy.
Carbon copy.
Right. So that means all other users who you want this copy to be sent. So that addresses you will give in CC. And what is BCC? Blind carbon copy.
Blank carbon
That
copy.
means all those people who you want that they should not see who other people have sent it to. You understand? I want that BCC should be sent so that no other person should know that I have sent this to these persons also. So you can write those addresses in BCC, blind carbon copy. So they will not be able to know all to whom other persons you have sent this mail to. So that is blind to them. Do you understand?
Yes,
Blind
ma'am.
carbon copy. So that is also there. Then subject is there, where you will write what is the subject matter of your email, and the text area is the area where your email you write, and then send button is there, you right, that is your email. You also have chat options also. Chat is there or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Chat,
Available.
yeah, Google Talk and all for chatting. Chat rooms are there. You have Yahoo Messenger, G-Talk in Google, BCAOL, right? So chatting option is also there. Nowadays, so you have video chats only, right? In WhatsApp, or there are other mediums also. So they are just talking about the chat rooms and all that. I'm not going for that. Then what are the security threats on the internet? Can you tell? Internet has many facilities, but there are security threats also that there are the what?
Privacy.
Yeah, the most important three things are there which you face on as a threat on the internet is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Do you understand? These are the three things you face. Confidentiality means that no unauthorized person should be able to read or copy information that he or she is not supposed to read, right? So your information should be confidential, not on the internet.
Yes, ma'am.
Privacy issue is there. Then integrity means what? That no unauthorized person should be able to modify the information. It should be integrated. That nobody else should be able to modify the information, whatever is there. And availability means no unauthorized person should be able to erase information, make it inaccessible. That means they should not be able to erase it so that other person will not access it. As this kind of a thing should not happen. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the three things which you should cater to, and other things are computer viruses, from which other theft is computer viruses or malwares, right? Apart
Yes,
from
ma'am.
confidentiality, integrity, availability, there are other threats which are computer viruses, right? So how to make sure that you can to maintain the security is authentication and authorization. What does that mean?
So applying a password or a login.
Yeah, so authentication means that you are authenticating the person that this is a valid person who is accessing the email or whatever, right? So username and password is the one of the options internet security in the internet security systems, right?
Yes,
And
it can be.
and authorization means what? That you are that the mail server is authorizing, yes, the username password is correct, authentication is correct. Now I am authorizing him to access this, right?
Yes.
So this is what authentication and authorization is. And the other thing is, if you are catering to computer viruses and malware, for confidentiality, integrity and availability, authentication and authorization is good. For computer viruses and malware, you have to have a firewall and antivirus on your system, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
So that is how you will cater to viruses and all. That is what you are there. The security threats will be there. And what are the security threats? That is confidentiality, integrity, availability, and computer viruses and malware. Right? Those are your threats. And how can you prevent them? By authorization and authentication, and you can have antivirus and firewalls installed. Right? Any problems? Any problems in this chapter?
No.
See, generally the definition you have to read, right? Any doubts anybody is having? The next class, which is on Monday, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Next class, which is on Monday, will be the last theory class. Then we'll start with the practicals,
Okay.
right? I think 9 classes were there. I think so. The next class is the last theory class. Just check it. Then we will start with the practical. So this is what your theory sessions are all about, but only one unit is left, that is your unit about e-learning, right? Unit 3, which we'll be doing in the next class, that will be e-learning. So this is all your theory, from fundamentals to binary number system to your softwares to your networking and internet. So this is what was your whole syllabus. Right? So what you do now is just revise the things which you have done. You can also open your units, right? Go to the your units, revise all the things. Whatever you are not able to understand, we can discuss in the next class, or we can discuss it in the practical class also. Right?
Yes.
Any problems? Acha,
No,
who
ma'am.
was Vikram Parihar? You are still facing the FEG problem.
Yes, ma'am. I'm still facing problem.
So just email the one Google form had come to you. Have you filled that form?
Ma'am, I tried 2-3 times on that Google form,
What does that mean 2-3 times?
but ma'am, I don't receive the reply.
See, they won't reply on that. Have you submitted it successfully now?
Yes, ma'am. I submitted successfully. I don't receive any
Then
mail
they
in
will
time.
take care of that. The information has reached them, and they will provide it to the person who is taking care of this thing, and your problem will be resolved within a few days. Right, don't worry. And I've also told them regarding the assignment also, that it is showing the 30th April only the last date. So they have emailed the thing to the COE, and they will handle it automatically. Right, don't worry.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else? Everybody has put their attendance in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody is left.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Yes or no? Should I copy it?
I'm
Yes,
wait.
ma'am.
I will put it again.
Put it fast. Then your next class is starting now. All those who have not put their attendance, please put it, and then we can end the class and we'll meet on Monday then. Anybody left? Right now on the LMS portal, I don't know they have put the attendance thing or not. Right, whenever they put it on the LMS portal, we will be sending your attendance to them. They will be putting that. But right now they have not asked for the attendance from us. But I am keeping the attendance. See, again the same question is asked again and again. What is the exam mode? Don't worry about the exam mode. Even if it is descriptive, even if it is objective, doesn't matter. Wherever you are, exam centers are available everywhere. You can give the exam there also. And if it is on your machine, you can give the exam. If it will be objective, then you have to give on your machine. So don't worry about the exam. May, everybody knows that it is extended up to 15th May, assignment submission date. Everybody has written? I know that it is not showing on the LMS portal. I have already conveyed it to the IGNOU authorities. Everybody has given their attendance or not? So I'm ending the class today, right? Take care and you can attend the second class, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.